Yep, it's that time of the week again when Crimson Desert receives a brand new patch. The developer only noted 2 new additions, but honestly, that undersells just how much patch 1.06.00 adds to an already stacked game. So without further ado, let's dive in, starting with new special mounts. When the development team said new special mounts, we got excited for the obvious reasons. What new creatures would be at our beck and call now? It would have been easier to ask which weren't, because you can now register wolves, mountain goats, raptors, camels, lions, tigers, deers, cuckoo birds, even iguanas as special mounts. Each is tameable in different ways, so while the standard feeding may work for some, others will demand special treatment. But regardless, it seems that promise of offering more mounts that you can summon at any time has been more than delivered upon. Feed mounts while riding, and special saddles. That's not all, of course. A new quality of life feature allows feeding your mount while riding it. No more having to get off and take care of it. Simply go to your inventory and select feed for the item in question. Furthermore, different special mounts now have unique saddles. Wolves can equip Hernand and Equinshire saddlery. Bears get Hernand and Calpade saddlery. And there are more to purchase across various cities. You can also choose to unequip saddlers for a cleaner look. Material extraction. This is perhaps the second biggest feature of the new update. We'll get to the first very soon, and it's one that new and veteran players will appreciate. Extraction. No, not stealing loot and then extracting from a location lest you lose it all. Material extraction. By visiting a smithy, you can have any materials invested in weapons and gear returned to you, whether it's rolling back by 1 refinement level or many. There are some caveats. Any artifact or Assyrian scales invested into an item will be fully recovered, but you'll only get back copper, iron, bloodstones, and whatnot. Considering how easy it is to obtain the latter, however, it's a small price to pay. So if you find yourself low on abyss artifacts or really any materials and need a quick way to obtain some more, material extraction is the ticket. Unarmed combat skills for Unka. When I was first forcibly swapped over to Unka as part of a story mission, I, like many, lamented his abilities, especially given the lackluster gear and skills. However, beyond the improvements he and Damiane have received in updates, it's very clear that Unka is an absolute menace. And if you were getting tired of smashing bosses with his great hammer or spinning to win with the great axe, good news! He just received some new unarmed combat skills, accessed by selecting his bare fists. Damiane will follow in the next update, but it's awesome seeing combat options for both expand so much. The Claw Machine. Now for the biggest addition to the game by a wide margin, the Claw Machine. Head to the Laughing Marionette Circus to the west of Demonesis main city, and you can spend silver to play. Considering how many minigames in Crimson Desert are easy to tire of, especially when you complete their associated challenges and quests, it's fun to have something so imminently replayable, and that too with extensive rewards. Beyond a chair and lighting items, you can obtain abyss artifacts, abyss gear, and even a special headgear that Marnie would approve of. Vision enhancement. Speaking of headgear, the Vision have finally been given some love. You can now enhance it and equip different abyss gear thanks to the addition of sockets, if you're into the whole aesthetic that it has to offer, not to mention keeping it available at all times for memory fragments. Interestingly, it seems that certain other equipment has received the same treatment, though the development team didn't specify what. Granted, the number of sockets won't exceed the default for that type, and in some cases, like cuckoo items, it may be lower, but still, the changes make them more viable. Combat improvements. As good as Crimson Desert's combat could be at launch, it's gotten even better with updates, and this one is no exception. Ever wanted to execute Blinding Flash without a weapon? Now you can. How about improved chain attacks after executing a roundhouse kick when unarmed? Go for it. Two-handed cannons have also had their base attack power increased, making them a much better combat option, on top of additional effects. Even the default stance and animations for unarmed combat have been improved. It's almost like the game is screaming at you to embrace the way of the fist with Unka. Skill search, research UI improvements, and more. UI improvements also continue to roll out, and they include perhaps one of the low-key most useful features: a search function for skills. No more having to scroll to find precisely what you need. Your currency is also now displayed whenever customizing a character or equipping dies, and the Research Institute's UI is more intuitive to navigate. Night Tone Mode. For night owls who prefer softer colors and more visibility when navigating darker areas, Night Tone Mode has got you. It makes traversing locations in low light, be it smack dab in the middle of the night or at dusk, feel so much more relaxing. Perfect for turning off reblockading and roaming the countryside after freeing it from all manner of villainy. Granted, some locations may look a little desaturated compared to others, but here's hoping the development team adds more such tones in future updates. All the best for the rest. Honestly, it's this section that I enjoy covering the most because all the little additions with each update are just so incredible. First off, the display sheath option. You wouldn't think this matters all that much for a character's fashion, but some of the sheaths are downright gorgeous. And regarding aesthetics, certain cloaks' elemental resistances have been adjusted, which means they'll look more appropriate for that purpose. You can now stack furniture and ornaments, and there are new ways to obtain knowledge for some factions that may have been locked off till now. HDR quality is improved, and turning it on will no longer disable direct-to-play. Waterfalls will now look less unnatural, depending on the distance at which you view them. Fashion endgame players should also note that Cliff can now wear some of Unka's outfits. An exact list is pending, but let's just say that those who wanted their version of Cliff to look a little more macho can now do just that. Unka can also equip the Greymane cloth cloak, which feels long overdue. And if you need another reason to assail strongholds, reblockade or not, they now have increased chances of dropping Abyssgear blueprints. Alright, I won't go into my usual spiel about how the development team should probably take a break and catch up on sleep, but it's incredible to think about the number of changes and additions that Crimson Desert has seen in less than 2 months. What does the future hold? How far can the studio take things? Whatever it may be. One thing's for sure, each new update is a delight to unpack. Hey, did you know that we at GamingBolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.